Book Summary: Beloved Economies, Transforming How We Work by Jess Rimington and Joanna Levitt-Saya. Enjoy the video. Please subscribing to my channel for more great content like this. You'll be notified when I upload new videos. Beloved Economies is a visionary exploration into reimagining our work lives. The authors present 7 transformative practices that challenge conventional business models and advocate for a shift towards more meaningful, connected, and resilient ways of working. The narrative weaves through stories of organizations and individuals who have dared to step outside business as usual. For example, one company implemented a no-titles policy to flatten hierarchies and foster open communication. Another introduced profit-sharing schemes that rewarded all employees equitably, reflecting their belief in collective success. The book also highlights a community project that turned a profitless town into a thriving local economy by focusing on sustainable practices and local resources. A tech startup is featured for its radical approach to work-life balance, mandating time off and encouraging personal growth alongside professional development. Lastly, an educational institution's shift to project-based learning exemplifies how changing our approach can yield profound societal benefits, preparing students for a future where adaptability and creativity are paramount. Key takeaways. Work isn't working for the great majority of people. The U.S. economy largely benefits the privileged few, but it doesn't have to be that way. Transformation begins when workers assert their right to participate in designing their workplace. Avoid chaos and ensure inclusivity by agreeing on malleable protocols. Develop authentic connections based on mutual care. Learn from past injustices and work to right their wrongs. Foster a healthy, respectful approach to divergent viewpoints. Source wisdom from your body, emotions, and nature. Slow down to be more fully present and productive. Develop inexpensive, user-friendly prototypes that facilitate early feedback and testing. Summary. Work isn't going well for most people. In the U.S., many people have to take care of their kids while working multiple jobs with schedules that change all the time. A lot of jobs don't have regular hours or benefits, and bosses can make workers sign unfair contracts. Workers can be fired easily, and there's no promise of work in jobs like driving for a ride-share app. This makes many workers feel stressed and burned out. Work can cause problems at home, make people feel alone, and lead to unhealthy habits. Too much work can make you sick and even shorten your life. Plus, there's hardly any time left for fun or healthy activities. The way we work also hurts nature because companies take too much from forests and other resources to make a few people rich. The U.S. economy mostly helps a small group of rich people, but it doesn't have to be this way. Right now, rich people use their money to make more money, which makes them even richer while others fall behind. The 3 richest guys in the U.S. have more money than 160 million other Americans combined. And almost half of Americans can't afford an emergency $400 expense. Even the idea of wealth is messed up because it's based on taking away real treasures like clean air, water, forests, oceans, and minerals. The things that really matter, like time with family and friends or enjoying nature, don't count in the economy, but things that hurt nature do. People are tired and stuck in a system that mostly helps a few rich people. Companies buy cheap properties in struggling towns and sell them for profit, which hurts forests, farms, and workers' pay. This leads to towns losing money for hospitals, schools, and stores, which are replaced by cheap stores. These problems often happen in poor areas and affect people of color the most. But most workers, no matter their background, feel trapped in this harmful system and don't believe in an economy based on love. However, capitalism can be better. The economy only helps a few because most people can't imagine anything other than socialism or communism as an alternative. But some people and groups are showing that different kinds of capitalism can work, ones that make workers' lives better and help more than just a few rich people. Change starts when workers stand up for their right to have a say in their workplace. The economy is something we create and keep going because we let it be this way. When people speak up about what affects them, they start to break free from an unloving economy. Participation often leads to real, widespread breakthroughs. These innovations can free people from the lack of imagination that make them put the financial interests of others ahead of their own. This process can transform work, and it also improves traditional measures of economic success, such as revenues, profits, customers and investment, while allowing workers and the environment to thrive. We are all complicit in upholding business as usual when we do not actively choose something different and instead renew what is, rather than what could be. Workers' rights to design include participation in imagining, planning and building the circumstances of their lives. Rights to design apply to large decisions, such as shaping an entire organization, and small ones, such as determining working hours and location. The concept of rights to design pushes against the paternalistic status quo in which a few people with power dictate everything, even if they pretend to listen to other voices and concerns. By establishing their rights to design, workers fight a system that has grown out of hundreds of years of colonialism, enslavement, racism and ruthless wealth extraction. Workers who imagine different ways of work in organizations that include the voices of the many will benefit from new ideas and innovations that build creativity and resilience. For workers and organizations interested in escaping the loveless extractive economy and creating better workplaces, 7 practices will support their efforts to break free from business-as-usual constructs. These practices work in concert with one another to expand people's imagination and courage for change. They demand continuous effort, learning and practice, but when applied consistently, they have helped organizations move beyond the status quo. Avoid chaos and ensure inclusivity by agreeing on malleable protocols. In many people's experience, collaboration and consensus building among large teams or groups have led to poor compromises or chaos. Collaborative decision-making demands careful effort. Avoid chaos and ensure inclusivity by agreeing on protocols. Use protocols and frameworks as boundaries, but don't apply them so rigidly as to stifle ideas and creativity. Individuals who share in a decision should also share in the rewards when it succeeds, and the accountabilities when it doesn't. Share influence, ideas, and decision-making to build trust, spark engagement and reduce stress. When decision-making power is shared through a thoughtful and deliberate process, the practice can elevate a team from feeling like a set of disjointed individuals at work to operating as a tight-knit community. Concordia, a New Orleans community architecture and planning firm, was charged with helping to rebuild the city after Hurricane Katrina. Concordia's approach included facilitating the genuine involvement of the people who lived in the neighborhoods destroyed by Katrina. Extending decision-making power to the people who would be directly affected led to breakthrough results that had eluded 2 previous, inexpensive, rehabilitation efforts. Develop authentic connections based on mutual care. Instead of framing relationships as, it's not what you know but who you know and emphasizing network building for the sake of furthering sales or careers, slow down and invest in authentic connections based on mutual care. By deliberately building care into a culture, you nurture relationships of trust and safety. Prioritizing relationships is the practice of bringing a spirit of care to everyday interactions with team members and people in the broader community whom our work affects. Trust and safety, in turn, reduce needless friction at work and open the door to courageous conversations that yield faster, better results. When people feel safe with one another, ideas and creativity blossom. Relationships of care and trust foster openness to opposing ideas and constructive feedback. They can assuage frustrations, resentments and other difficult emotions that might cause stress and, eventually, negative conflict. Care and trust generate empathy even beyond the group, engendering a larger worldview in which people consider the impact of their actions on others, the community and the environment. Learn from past injustices and work to right their wrongs. When you don't know the history of your country, community, industry or organization, it hobbles your ability to avoid past mistakes and make better, values-based decisions about the present and future. Ignorance of the foundations of business as usual can cause you to perpetuate them. And previous generations offer insights and wisdom that can aid efforts to redress past wrongs and to recognize and stop present harm. Reckoning with history is the practice of creating intentional time, space and processes to unpack and address the past in ways relevant to the work at hand. You won't likely consider the past until you carve out specific time for it. Put storytelling about the past on the agenda. Discuss past hurts deliberately, not to inflict sorrow but to learn and grow. Reflect on recent decisions, including wins and losses. Conduct after-action reviews to examine the impact of decisions and to learn from successes and mistakes. The sustainable housing nonprofit Push Buffalo uses stories from Buffalo's fascinating past, including narratives about the nation's first black-run cooperatives, to demonstrate the past success and current potential of African Americans. Foster a healthy, respectful approach to divergent viewpoints. For organizations to see the benefits of diversity, its practice must go well beyond compliance. It demands inclusion and belonging, a seat at the decision-making table for all. Diversity of thought leads to diversity of ideas, more ideas to consider and, as a result, better decision outcomes. Bring people together across age, race, economic background, gender, sexuality, and class. A sense of safety and trust in one another will enable the kind of full candor that makes progress possible. Seeking difference is the practice of refusing to accept business-as-usual assumptions about who should be at the table. Invite input from stakeholders inside and outside the organization. Encourage constructive disagreement about which course of action to pursue by deliberately inviting people who oppose consensus ideas. Make sure to include people who bring real experience about the issues at hand. Source wisdom from your body, emotions, and nature. In the status quo, knowledge results from formal learning, college degrees, certificates, and other credentials. Informal learning and wisdom gained through experience, intuition, and spirituality attract less respect in Western culture. But when individuals and organizations embrace art, bodily intelligence, emotion, deep breathing, and connection to nature, additional knowledge can emerge. Sourcing from multiple ways of knowing is the practice of considering, valuing, and attuning to multiple types of knowledge. Recognize and discourage biases that devalue non-traditional sources of knowledge. Encourage walks in the woods, share stories, and even insights gleaned from dreams to cultivate new insights. Honor hard-won discernment gained from experience as much as that from the written word or so-called expert opinion. Take time to slow down, de-stress, and tap into your own wisdom. At the Heart Research Alliance, for example, scientists invited the deep involvement of patients as experts in their own conditions, a practice crucial to the group's innovations in medical research. Slow down to be more fully present and productive. Believing you can slow down to speed up might prove the most difficult practice. Business as usual promotes an always-on mindset. People rush from project to project, producing but rarely contemplating or thinking. When people slow down to become fully present in a conversation or task, time matters less, urgency falls away, and people accomplish more, better, faster. Trusting there is time means believing there is always time available to prioritize engagement and care in how we work. To change people's attitudes toward time, acknowledge constraints and deadlines. Give yourself and others the necessary time for priority work, as well as breaks, reflection, collaboration, and thinking. Don't risk burning yourself and others out by making everything urgent. Recognize and reward people who seek and give assistance. Encourage longer-term thinking over immediate gains or quick fixes. Develop inexpensive, user-friendly prototypes that facilitate early feedback and testing. Borrow from the lean movement, which emphasizes the development of cheap, quick prototypes that stakeholders can see and even touch or use. This highly inclusive process facilitates early feedback. It tests ideas against tangible prototypes and often results in final products, services, or outcomes that prove superior to those created by traditional top-down approaches. Prototype to better serve stakeholders' needs rather than to maximize profits. Keep an open mind and practice the scientific method. Assemble feedback, make revisions, and repeat. Learn along the way, and don't wait for a perfect solution. In summary, Rimington and Saya's book shines a light on the promising work already happening at the boundary of economics and values like cooperation, purpose, and well-being. Though not offering a complete blueprint, beloved Economies makes an informed case that alternative approaches deserve greater consideration and provides inspiration and direction for those seeking to actively participate in shaping new economic stories. Its balanced and thoughtful treatment of conceptual frameworks and real-world initiatives creates an impactful call for readers to imagine and pursue alternatives dedicated first to human and environmental welfare. The end. Thanks you for watching. Please subscribing, like and shares. See you next video.